Hey, welcome to the channel, 1L Moto, where we build bikes, customize bikes, ride bikes. Today, we're here to chat about the beautiful, absolutely stunning new Street Fighter V4 and V4S, which has just dropped overnight. We're gonna get a little bit of a look at the spec sheet, and we're gonna go through some of the differences between last year's model, the 2022 model, and this year's overview, which I think the term better all-rounder thoroughly suits. Like, this is, once you hear the spec sheet, you will hopefully make up the same decision that I've made in my head, that this is now just a perfect all-round bike, from being a beautiful street bike to being something that you can absolutely smash home on the racetrack. Let's get into it. I think let's go through some changes that I've made straight away for design. So they've adopted the tank of the 2022 V4 Panigale, which has slightly sharper lines, and they're flowing those lines down into the side panels, which then flow into the duplicate wings. The wings themselves don't appear to have really changed, but just having those more aggressive lines, Ducati claim that it actually means for the rider, it gives the rider more comfort and more control. So the Panigale is obviously a track weapon, that's what it's designed for. The Street Fighter was probably originally designed to be a bit of both, and thus they went for a softer tank on the earlier models. But now, becoming such a track weapon, people are saying, give us more control. So that more ingrained race style V4 Panigale tank, it's actually identical to the one off the 2022 Panigale. So that's one change, which then means the tank is actually slightly bigger as well. It's got a slightly bigger, I think half a litre more capacity, so 17 litre capacity, which roughly equates to around about 10 miles on a Ducati. Let's face it, the only thing you can't pass in a Ducati is what? A fuel station. That's it, that's my joke for the day. As much as I love Ducatis, you can't pass a fuel station. So they got some inspiration from the Joker, apparently. I'm really not sure how. I don't really see it, but okay, that's cool. Each to their own. Design's a finicky thing. It has some new graphics, which I think if you look closely is really just the new logos. And then you'll actually notice down the bottom in the lower fairing, there's some slight design changes in terms of the lines and the cutouts to the fairing as well, which I quite like, and I think it adds a bit more aggression to the bike. So yeah, look, I'm totally in favor of that. I think it's pretty cool. You know what? Who would love to see a new 2023 Street Fighter on this channel? I could customize it, I could do whatever. Put some comments below, let me know if you think that's something we should do. I'm all ears, so I'm open to all sorts of suggestions, just let me know. I love the color scheme, the grey Nera on the V4S. On the standard V4, you can just get the red. Look, I'm a Ducatista at heart, so I love red bikes. My partner loves red bikes as much as she's got this grey and titanium Diavel next to me. My Panigale is red. My custom Ducati I'm building behind us will have red Ducati elements in it. Personally, I think red all the way. So I'm not a massive fan of different colors of Ducatis, but I understand that people might want to wrap their Ducati or whatever. But personally, I really love this grey Nera color that I've come up with. It's a more of a matte color. I think it really looks good. You could still have red elements on your bike if you wanted to, but let's face it, it looks pretty sick. Okay, so another really cool change that I've made, and this is actually an electronic change, but I'm going to say it's a design change, is the dash. So the dash has had a massive update in race mode. So it's more like what a MotoGP rider would see in terms of the important information being paramount and forefront. So I'll pop some images up on screen, but the dash is just really driven towards getting your lap times down, using different indicators for shift indicators. There's a few changes there which I think, when you're on track, make all the difference. Personally, I don't even look at my dash when I'm on track, but I'm only a beginner, so Some guys probably do. They've probably got time to fly past me, 100 k's an hour past me, and still look at their dash and see what they've got to go and get from the grocery store. Not me. I'm far too focused on the next corner or who I'm supposed to be passing or trying not to be passed. So the chassis, so there is some changes to the chassis. And what they've done is they've just raised the pivot point by, I think, 4 millimeters at the rear, which stops the bike from sinking down more under power. So you get less, I think they call it anti-squat, so you get more anti-squat, sorry. So you can drive out corners better without lagging. So I don't know how much of a difference it would make to a sort of a layperson rider like me, but if you're a full-on track junkie, like you're a MotoGP weekend rider, then it's probably going to make a big difference to someone like you. The engine is still the same output, 208 brake horsepower, 123 newton meters of torque. I can't remember what numbers those are at, but the other important thing is that for street riding, Ducati also think that by making some configurations to that engine, they've lowered the operating temperature, which means that when you're commuting or you're riding around the city at lower speeds, you should get less aggravating, heat. You don't get a great deal of that anyway because there's no fairing. And personally, even on my V4, I don't get a great deal of heat. A lot of people complain about it. It's one of the first questions people ask me is, what do you do with the heat, man? I'm like, I don't get that much heat, it just doesn't get that hot. But either way, they think they've slightly reduced the operating temperature of that engine, so slightly less heat on your inner thighs, less ball burning. So less ball burning is better. Okay, the electronic modes. So they've made some updates to this. You actually get now 4 power modes. So 2 of those are new, the top and the bottom one. So you now have full, high, medium, and low. Low operates at about 165 horsepower, and then it just drives its way up from that. In addition to that, you get a lighter lithium battery when you buy the V4S model. There's a few different things you get on the V4S model. Actually, you get a lighter lithium battery, you get the Forge Mark and Easy rims. There's a few little bits and pieces, but nothing that really stands out other than obviously the suspension package, which is always different on a V4S anyway. And then the riding modes themselves, you've got one new one. So on top of having race, sport, and road, you now also have wet mode, which really just does things like turn on all your traction control, anti-wheelie, all that stuff, just to make sure you don't slip and slide in the rain, which is perfect. I'm all for that. So it has an update to the software, the new Evo 2 software, in line with the Panigale software. So that's all of the spec changes. I see this being an absolute game changer in terms of being an all-round bike. I think that even the small geometry changes, the changes to the electronic setup, I think is enough to say this is quite a different bike to last year's 2022 model. I'm not saying go out and buy a 2023 because it's going to be so different, but I think it's going to be much more of an all-rounder. If you're someone that likes to ride during the week and does a fair bit of city riding, you might have a Panigale V4, V4S for the racetrack, and then you commute maybe on an upright bike, then I think this is perfect for you. It's perfect for guys like me who are 6'3" plus, because you don't always want to be bent over, but now you've got the sports performance of a V4 Panigale, and you've got that in a naked bike. It's perfect for people that are sitting on the fence between the new M1000R that was released last week, BMW, a radical looking bike that a lot of people probably thought, wow, I wonder, should I buy one of those now, or should I wait and see what happens with Ducati? What are Ducati going to release? I think this is probably almost a no-brainer as well. Any hardcore Ducatista is going to go think twice about potentially jumping ship to BMW. Whilst I love both, and I have both, personally, I think that Street Fighter is not going to get beaten in 2023. Let's see what BMW can do in the following year, but I think it's pretty safe to say this is going to be the #1 Street Fighter for 2023. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Like, subscribe. You know the drill.